Hello everyone and welcome to the BMW Race Driver Series Round 6 going to Japan at Okayama International Circuit today as we look to begin the second half of the season in which the championship has really closed up after the events of the last couple of rounds. 2 races tonight as always, plus qualifying. You'll see it all live right here on the Global SimRacing Channel. My name is Ryan Jones, alongside me Yoshin Bahaka, Joe Peak behind the scenes using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Why don't we head down and take a little bit of a closer look at the Okayama circuit with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Okayama International Circuit. Located an hour's drive northeast of its titular city, it sits nestled among the green lush hills in southern Japan. Built in 1990, it's most well known for the 2 visits Formula One made in 94 and 95. But since then, national and international touring car series have come to race here as well. Otherwise, the 2 available layouts are mostly used for club racing and amateur track days. The full course is just under 4 kilometers with 11 turns, and the short version is a measly 2 kilometers with 7 turns. It does this by cutting out the portion between Williams and Revolver. While hairpins abound throughout the lap, overtakes tend to be surprisingly hard. The first corner, Atwood Curve, and Hairpin are the main spots where drivers can attempt a traditional pass. Hairpin makes for unique battles though. The unusually steep banking for a road course, plus the switch back into Revolver, means that holding it around the outside can reward a brave driver. However, while it is a more modern facility, runoff in some places is shockingly small, and it can be easy to damage your car. This section in particular around Revolver, Piper, and Redmond gets slightly claustrophobic. The pit entry requires some practice since you must use the inside lane of Mike Knight, otherwise you'll get a penalty. While it might not see as much use in the real world, here on iRacing this track is part of the base content, and so new road racers will find themselves here frequently. With it being suitable for a wide range of styles of cars, it's sure to excite many of the competitors who tackle it.
A look there at the Okayama circuit. Ozzy, what more do you want to tell us about this 3.7 kilometer racetrack?
Well, Okayama circuit, it's best known for hosting the Pacific Grand Prix in 1994 and 95 as well, both races won by Sir Michael Schumacher. So this track, as you said, 3.7 kilometers, 2.3 miles, fairly basic layout, but it's still got a couple of challenging corners. I'm looking at turns number 6 and 7, especially Revolver, and then you got Piper corner as well. 2 fairly simple 90-degree left-handers that are not simple at all. Fun fact for this circuit, by the way, it's a free circuit on iRacing, so it's a free content track on iRacing. That means it's featured in the Rookie Series, which also means that it's featured and fairly accessibly across many of the hosted series and will be familiar to many of these drivers.
Yeah, it certainly will be. It's one of those tracks that these guys should have a lot of experience on. Big thanks as always to the big team at Express Hydraulics for important stock, wide range of hydraulic accessories so you can get what you want or when you want it, and Griffin Excavation to provide you with a professional and experienced digger operator ready to help you with general earthworks, landscaping, drilling, trenching, driveways and site clearing. And you can get your company involved with the Global SimRacing Channel as well. With over 1 million impressions each and every month, it's a great opportunity to get your brand seen by a broad audience. Just head to the link in the description to find out more. Let's look at the championship. Then I said it had closed up, and well, closed up it has. It is level at the top now between Taylor Cockerdon and Gene Rollinson, 1,071 points apiece. Rollinson, the reigning champion as well. Sabo's fallen to 3rd or 2nd, depending on how you want to look at it, 37 points back. Griffin's 43 back. Paul Blomqvist is 66 points back. In order to claw some points back, what's the format for tonight, Ozzy?
The format is same as usual. We try to take over the world. No, it's a round number 6 out of 10 in total. Same car as always, BMW M8 GDE open qualifying, which still has some 10 minutes left, 11 minutes left at this point, which means for those who are unfamiliar with the format, means that drivers can do as many laps as they like during the course of this half an hour in total. Then we will have two 25-minute heat races, just under half an hour each. And the second heat will have something very exciting, which is a full reverse grid. So the driver who finishes last on the first race will be starting from the pole position in the second one.
Yeah, it's played for some really, really interesting racing over the course of the season, Matt. So let's take a look at qualifying at the moment. It is Taylor Cockenden putting his best foot forward at the moment with a 1:26.582. I want to highlight man in fourth place. Guess who's turned up? Shane van Gisbergen, well known for his sim racing exploits and occasionally his real life exploits as well, which included finally picking up a couple wins this season in the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship just yesterday. He's made the trek back home and jumped on the sim and races in this series for the first time this season in the Minion Motorsport team, normally occupied by a wide variety of real-life racing drivers. We'll see what sort of pace he can find in that BMW today. He was pretty good in practice and, unsurprisingly, pretty close to the front already here in qualifying. 26.822, so he's 3/10 away from Taylor Cochran. We'll see if this lap will put him anywhere closer.
I don't know if you have any idea about the background of this. I certainly don't. But once we see an exterior view of that car, it's the same Minions livery that, for example, Paul Blomqvist races. And there we go. Great job by our director. What is the thing behind the Minions livery? Why are so many of the real-life notables racing that particular livery? Is it a sponsorship thing, or is it just some meme that got out of hand?
It's a meme. There is a story, I think, but these guys are doing this for fun. They're not here to take it seriously. They're just letting off some steam, having some fun, and letting loose. And liveries go hand in hand with that. Here's BV up, running in 12th. Fastest lap time of 26.668. Only 100th of a second away from Matthew Griffin, just in front of him on the leaderboard. That lap time is just a fraction slower. No improvement there. We've got 25 drivers in the field today.
That we do, and that's a great amount of drivers, especially for such a little track. 3.7 kilometers, that's not too long, especially once you got the tide twist a bit towards the end of the circuit, so we'll see some close racing. And it's not going to be a slam dunk to overtake here, so the second start especially will be very interesting to see who's going to be out at the front. And out at the front in this qualifying, it's Antar Rafael Sabo with a 1:26.4, so that's an improvement, Ryan, and that puts him a full 10th of a second ahead of Taylor Cockerton.
Yeah, Sabo's had some rough luck the last couple of rounds, so he'll be hoping to reverse that today. Starting on pole is definitely the best way to go about that. Mark Gibson in third, we know the pace he had, clean sweeping his debut at Sebring, having a tough old time last week, along with most of the normal front runners, as Matthew Giantini crosses the line. That is not an improvement. In fact, it looked like it was an outlap. There is Mark Gibson, the man in question. 26.725, has him third at the moment. Yeah, last week was just wild at Monza. Had a couple of strange circumstances, and Rollinson recorded a race win, which leapfrogged him back towards the top. There was mayhem abounds further down the order, including a big melee down at turn 1, which is somewhat unsurprising given the normal Constantina effect you get into that corner on the race starts. I think this might be a cold lap for Gibson, or rather a warm-up lap. It is. He's just getting out of the way of one of that Mers Minion cars. That's actually SVG coming back around to complete another lap in his now owned 97 number. Rare to see him anywhere without that number adorned, even after winning the championship. He kept it on the car across the line, 27.1, 3/10 off the pace that he's already set. Speaking of pace, him and Rollinson, identical lap times in 5th and 6th.
Yeah, they are with a 1:26.822 for both of these guys. So They are pretty close to each other. We just need one more, and then they've got a Jerez 97 moment with 3 guys scoring identical lap times. Just goes to show you how talented this field is and how close it truly is at the top. Speaking of whom, Paul Blomqvist has now passed these guys. He's not on a good lap right now, but he could be starting a good one soon. He is just outside of your front row, so currently sitting on what would be the last place on the podium. In fact, just come into the pit lane. So I think they'll take short breaks right now, and then they will start their final runs of the qualifying, Ryan. Just 5 minutes left, and whoa, look at the track temp.
What is it? Oh, it's 47 degrees. The air temp's only 19. Because it's 1:30 in the afternoon, though, it is very, very hot out there on the tarmac. Jonathan Shapley, who's been in amongst it all season, 28.688 is what he's trying to improve on. That car behind him is Stefan Barker. Shapley crosses the line and he does a 30.1. Barker crosses the line, he does a 30.0, so neither of them finding an improvement, and then they both get held up at turn 1.
Yeah, so traffic management, very important here at open qualifying. It is probably the number one aspect of securing a good qualifying time, because even if you have all the pace in the world, it's not gonna matter if you have to compromise your lap, and it's a whole different scenario than it would be in race conditions, because some of these guys might be on slow laps, they might be on out laps, which might take up to 2 minutes to complete if you want to keep your tires in good shape. Some of them might be on in laps, some of them might be on flying lap, but not their primary flying lap, and then along comes a guy who is on his flying lap and somebody's taking a hairpin at 50 km an hour, somebody wants to take it at 80, or even better, somebody's just, lifting off at the exit of the corner, not watching their mirrors religiously, and then somebody else just coming running into the back of him or having to brake because of that. It's a frequent source of frustration for these drivers, rather for any driver, to have their qualifying lap ruined, especially given how difficult it is to put down that one perfect lap line. And we're going to see if Paul Blomqvist could potentially be one of those guys who could be starting his perfect lap in a challenge to take the pole position.
Yeah, and remember, they don't get time after the checkered flag flies on the session to complete their lap, like you would see in a lot of series due to the way the server is set up. So this will be the last attempt. No, it'll get 2 attempts. No, this will be the last attempt for Paul Blomqvist to run out of time to do another lap after this one. So we'll see what he can do as he begins his final flying attempt of the qualifying session here at Okayama. Only needs to find, well, now he needs to find half a second, because Sabo just blew him out of the water. 26.1. He's done with that time. He goes back to the pits, and the gauntlet has been laid down for the field to chase as Blomqvist makes his way up towards the crucial uphill, long, sweeping hairpin. Got to get the power down early, because it's a very long straight that leads all the way down to a very tight hairpin in a big braking zone.
By the way, a track fact for you, Ryan. Do you know what turn number 5, the one Paul Blomqvist is on right now and spinning on right now, is called? The official name for the turn number 5.
A bad corner for Blomqvist?
No, the official name is hairpin.
Ah, yes. I love the creatively named corners. First corner and last corner. Also 2 corners on the racetrack. You get one guess to guess where they are situated. Taylor Cockerdin has been knocked back to third. Was he third anyway? Either way, he is third. 26.581. 800ths away from Mark Gibson if he wants to put himself on the front row. Gisbergen's done as well in the session. Mark Gibson's done as well. So he's the last driver of the top 5 still on the racetrack.
Yeah, so to answer that one, Mark Gibson just took the second place away from Cockerdin. So that's the story behind those guys. And let's see Cockerdin if he can improve 127.0. Can't.
And that'll be his session done. Won't have enough time to complete that lap. Gene Rollinson aborts his efforts from 6th position. It's outside row 3 for him at best at the moment. 54 seconds remain in the session. Is anyone else able to put down a late improvement? There's plenty of cars who are on pit road now and not going anywhere. We are watching Taylor Bryant, currently 20th. Can he crack inside the top 20? If he can go quicker than a 28.768, he will. 29.2, so he won't. And he is now done for the session. P20 for him. Bayvia in 12th position. 2 cars ahead of him, only a 10th ahead. It's 100th to Griffin and then a 10th to Rollinson. So, big chance for him to move a row further up the grid. He comes across the line. What is it? 28.2. No improvement. It's one of those sessions again. No one can improve late on because of the length of the session. Henry Thomas Kircher, can he even get to the line before the flag flies? I reckon he did just miss out. Here's your starting grid then for race 1 at Okayama. Antal Rafael Sabo puts it on the pole. Mark Gibson will start alongside Taylor Cochran from 3rd and Paul Blomqvist starting from 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen lines up in P5 ahead of Gene Rollinson in 6th. Zane Hills and Nicholas Lowndes on row 4. John Mishley, Royce Rollinson 9th and 10th.
Starting 11, it will be Matthew Griffin ahead of Beware. Matthew Gintini starting 13th, Henry Thomas Kircher starting 14th, Stephen Barker 15th ahead of Douglas Bickley, Caden Barker and Cam Cairns. Jonathan Shapley 19th, and rounding out your top 20 will be Taylor Bryant, Joshua Andrew, Liam Matheson, Regan Edwards, David Lawrence and Tim Dawson rounding out your 25 driver field. And up at the front, Ryan, it is pretty close.
It is. It's going to be another one of those tight races in this series. A rolling start, which means getting that launch off the line is quite easier than if it was a standing start, obviously. But it also means the speeds are higher, so slipstream can come into effect a little bit by the time you reach turn 1 and jump on the brake pedal, especially with how big this main straight is. So look out for that. 25 minutes this race, 25 minutes for race 2 as well. Remember, the finishing order for this one determines the starting order for the next one, but equal points paid out. So you need to make sure you're finishing up the order. You can't afford to play games and finish mid-pack. There's one of the minion cars. That's Van Gisbergen. And we roll off behind the pace car.
That we do. And if you want to tell Van Gisbergen and Paul Blomqvist apart, Paul Blomqvist has pink wheels on his minion car, whereas Shane Van Gisbergen has green wheels. So there you go. I mean, we also have graphics for that, but you know, right? Better safe than sorry.
Easily identifiable, yes. For example, now you can decide. On the hands now of Antal Rafael Sabo. He goes early. No, he doesn't. That caught a few drivers out. We're still waiting. Waiting. Looking for the green flag from Okayama. Away we go in Japan. It is not going to be a good start for Sabo. SVG's looking to the inside of them all, but that's not going to work out. Sabo leads them through turn 1. Gibson second. Blomqvist slots into 3rd ahead of Taylor Cochran, and then Van Gisbergen gets to his inside and then slides wide, has to back out of it. Gene Rollinson right in behind them. The rest of the field has got through the first couple of corners cleanly. Look how close Gibson is to Sabo. In fact, he's up the inside. There's contact, and Sabo, 2 tyres into the gravel, and he's going to go backwards all the way down this back straight.
You may have seen some contact at the back of the shot in turn number 1. That's Royce Rollinson, Nicholas Lowndes. Both are going back underway in the back of the pack.
Now Blomqvist looking for the lead. Locks up the rears and slides as Van Gisbergen drives around the outside. He's up to P3. Blomqvist on the wrong side of the road now for the next corner. That's going to allow SVG to his inside. No, he plays the, I guess, team game, if they are teammates, and slots in behind him. So it's Mark Gibson from Blomqvist, Van Gisbergen. Sabo's gone a long way down the order, and there's a bit of a mess behind him, in fact, now.
Yeah, that was Matthew Gintini locking up his brakes. a great battle between the cars in front. Matthew Griffin got a bit of an impact out of that one, but both are back and going. So a little bit of a messy start, and that was surprisingly clean going into turn number 1, considering they were 4 wide at one point in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, good job from everyone on that first lap for the most part. Very clean. Gibson, Blomqvist, Van Gisbergen, Gene Rollinson, Taylor Cockadin. That is your top 5. Sabo is latched on to the back of them in 6th after that little mishap. Small gap back to Zane Hills, and then the rest of the field comes streaming on through in quick succession as we run back up towards the back of the circuit. The Atwood curve, this one's called, and then on to the back straight, and they run towards Hairpin Corner.
That they do, and it is literally called the hairpin corner. It's a hairpin called the hairpin, as we talked about in qualifying, and it's the same thing they did in Suzuka as well. The hairpin at Suzuka, that's called a hairpin too, and they put a space in between and capitalized both of the words. So there you go. Interesting tidbit, and we are too wide. Royce Rollinson just passing Camp Terrence on the inside. Regan Edwards involved in that one. That is for position 19, I do believe, or could be 18 too, because Hayden Barker is right in the middle of that one, too wide as well. Hayden Barker getting past Regan Edwards, and they are now ahead of B there, who had a little bit of an issue at last lap, got punted around trying to make her way back to the field. Great racing to the field, Brian.
Yeah, I just spied Taylor Bryan, got his hands full at the moment and his mirrors full of Matthew Giantini. He started 20th, he's 11th. What a start for him in the opening 2 laps.
Yeah, what a start and what a job, and Giantini gonna get easily past Taylor Bryant, who just let him by. That was very, very easy indeed. I wonder if Taylor Bryant had a bit of a problem there, potentially. Car sliding around a little bit. Yeah, he's going very slowly. Andrew getting by as well. Meanwhile,
Sabo looking to make one of his spots back, side by side into Atwood curve around the outside. Just gets by Cockadin, and just in time, because Zane Hills has clawed right onto the back of this leading group now. And Sabo should be comfortable into the hairpin. He might have to cover because Cockadin's looking to come back. Late on the brakes, he gets to the inside. Can he slow it down? Or just about Sabo, though, with the outside momentum, going to fend him off. So Sabo's now taken that spot away. He moves up to P5. And Zane Hills will be looking to get a move on with Matthew Griffin all over the back of him. John Midgley not too far away either. Further up, Mark Gibson is not pulling any sort of advantage over the cars behind. Look how close Blomqvist is. Look how close SVG is to the back of Blomqvist. I reckon he might have the pace over him at the moment, but he's struggling to find a way by and almost gets into the back of him too deep into the last corner. That's going to hurt him down the main straight.
Yeah, definitely. So I wonder, normally I would say that, you know, it would be best to bide your time because we got a 25-minute race. We still have 20 minutes left. SBG can bide his time.
Have you ever seen
exactly.
Shane race?
Yeah, I have, and I would disagree with that notion. That's what I said. That's why I said normally. But this time, I think these guys are gonna, you know, get it going pretty soon, racing-wise. If they're not happy, if SVG is not happy with how Paul Blomqvist is piloting the BMW. Just a hunch, you know.
Yeah, check the speed of those cars down that back straight. Getting a lot of speed up in these BMW M8 GTE machines, which turn surprisingly well, given how obnoxiously big they are. Not sure how it would translate to real life supercars. It's a shame though, he seems to be adjusting well. Who was that with the massive slide out of that corner? It was it Sabo? I think it was.
Yeah, I think Sabo had a massive slide out the corner. Let's see. I'm gonna try and find it once again if it was Sabo, and indeed Sabo had a bit of a moment at least. But yeah, a lot of cars going sideways. Coqueton might have been it too because Taylor was right behind him. So tire wear not gonna exactly be an issue in a 25-minute race normally, but you can't still afford too many lockups. You still can't afford to go full sideways all the time because the track temp, as we mentioned in qualifying, it's still 46 degrees Celsius, which in iRacing terms means less grip, and which means also that the track is transferring more heat to the tire which is gonna warm the outer carcass of the tire quicker, and that means essentially it's gonna feel like ice racing at that point if you do overheat your tires. But yeah, the racing at the front, it's still very great. I'm impressed by how Gibson is handling the pressure, how Blomqvist and Gisbergen...
There we go, late move, can't pull it
No!
up, rear end, complains, and around it goes. Shane van Gisbergen rejoins in front of Zane Hills, forced his way in front of Zane Hills, who didn't want to back out, gave him a touch. And that's probably the first sight of, I mean, I guess the lack of experience Van Gisbergen's got in this car compared to the other guys, because he goes too deep and couldn't pull it up. Maybe not quite used to the braking performance on the limit, and around it goes.
I think he called Danny Rick before the race and asked him for tips on how do you know how to overtake people.
So that puts him back to 8th position. So Zayden Hills also lost a bit of ground because he was ahead of Midgley and Griffin, which are the two guys now immediately ahead of Shane. It's good news for him for the reverse grid race though, because he'll be ahead of those guys at the front of the field, but not by much. So Gibson now offered a reprieve because that slowed Blomqvist up just a fraction as he had to sidestep Shane, and the gap's out to 8 tenths of a second. 1.5 seconds back is Gene Rollinson. Sabo is looking like he's got some pretty good pace after that hip check. Cost him a handful of spots on the opening lap as he gets very close to the back bumper through the hairpin and through two 90-degree left-hand corners. Will find an opportunity. Might not find an opportunity until main straight and turn 1. So he's got to set himself up now to get the run out of the last corner and execute down at turn 1.
Yeah, and execute he shall if he wants to pull it off. We just saw a great example of how difficult it is to overtake here. We mentioned it previously, but this is not the widest of racetracks, and this is a pretty large car, so you really do need to set up your overtake. One way to do it is to force someone to defend into the last corner and then try and put it down the inside or run the outside onto the main straight and try to pull it off from there. The first couple of corners, really great to race at potentially. If you put it alongside in turn number 1, you can go turn 2 side by side. You can go to the Sterling Moss SS side by side, which is the park here on right now, and then to the 4th corner at Atwood. You can really decide the position onto the back straight. So that's one of the ways to overtake here. Another way is into the hairpin on the inside, as you saw SVG do, and as you see SVG do here into turn number 4 as well. That's a great move.
Very clean professional move from Van Gisbergen to take that spot away. Got a good exit as well. Should be safe. For the last time I said that, they weren't. He's awake to it and he moves the car over, trying to well, was it to force an error from Griffin or was it to defend from John Midgley? Either way, it's worked. Yes. Griffin locked up and ran wide, and Van Gisbergen's got by. Midgley now under threat from Zane Hills, who goes by him. Midgley looking for the crossover. The rear end lights up, and the tyres complain he can't do it, but a big, late, bold manoeuvre. He's just about going to pull it up, trying to run Hills off the track. He does. Hills into the grass. And now look out, because around the outside of him comes Henry Thomas Kutcher.
Yeah, so Kerher is gonna have a run on the outside. Nothing he can do there, however, and can't attack to the last corner either. I'm not too sure Zane Hills is too happy about that one, Ryan.
No, that was F1 style racing, wasn't it? They never give each other room on the exits of corners. If your car's there, it's in the grass, and it's almost what it felt like happened to Hills. Replay for Sabo. Has he lost a spot? I think he has. This is how. In fact, he's gone back behind Taylor Cockerdin.
Oh, he pulled an SVG. Almost.
But couldn't pull it up. Yeah, went too wide.
Yeah, exactly. So first they went too wide on the entry, then he went too wide on the exit.
Top two still have an 8/10 of a second margin between them. Field starting to spread as mistakes are made. Gene Rollinson in third. Still Cockerdin in fourth. Sabo now back behind him, and he's going to have 97 for close company soon as well. Biggest mover so far, it's now Joshua Andrew in the blue AC3 machine. 21st to 12th, plus 9 for him. Having a good race. He's just got by Kircher, who was around the outside of Hills and has made a mistake because Giantini is by as well. So Kircher's had an error to fall that far down.
Yeah,
14 seconds off the lead for Andrew, but he won't be moaning about that. Very good race for him at the moment. Halfway through.
Yeah, it is, and he's getting some overtaking practice done as well, and tell you what, he's gonna have to start doing some more overtaking in case, you know, for the second race, but he's running well so far, and his lap times are quite decent.
There's a
1:29.3 last time
stationary car on the racetrack, or rather there was. Now Reagan Edwards gets moving. I don't know what happened to him, man. He's gone a lap down as a result. I think he's gone for the ultimate gentleman's approach to getting lapped and pulled off and just stopped and let them all go. No one on the lead lap will complain about that as we watch Van Gisbergen slice up the inside. That's how you do it at the hairpin. This time he gets it done without any complaints from the back of that car, starting to become attuned with his BMW. Some rumours actually that BMW might come to the Supercars Championship in years to come.
There are rumors out there as well with BMW potentially coming to NASCAR. I'm not kidding.
Yes, I saw that.
There was a tweet out the other day. Yeah.
Better with NASCAR was BMW's response to, I think it was how to make NASCAR better or something. And they said better with BMW. So, and then there was someone else who was at Kentucky Speedway with a BMW going around the racetrack. So we'll see. We will see.
Wouldn't that be just amazing though? I mean, that's about the last thing I would expect a German manufacturer to get into. But they could potentially test at the Lausitzring if that's still out there. I don't think Lausitzring is still operational, but that's an oval. And they could test there, they could test at a couple of other facilities around Europe, potentially quite discreetly as well, especially during the COVID era when nobody's really able to move to a racetrack around Europe as a journalist for no reason. So that would be quite interesting. That would be quite interesting indeed to see more manufacturers in the world of racing. And I, for one, welcome our new buyer overlords.
Another car off the road there in
Barker,
the grass. Lap down. All right, lap car's being nice today. Yeah. Cockadin is trying to get a hurry on behind Gene Rollins as they all condense up behind Mark Gibson suddenly. You'll be seeing on the leaderboard the charges of both Van Gisbergen and Sabo trying to recover from mistakes. And Cockadin, after starting this race from third, might be a bit disappointed with where he's running at the moment, especially after getting passed by Rollinson and Sabo earlier before Sabo's second mistake of the race. He's pretty close. If he can stay this far behind, he should be able to get a run in a slingshot down the back straight. Slow mover at the back of the field. Here's a replay.
But Thomas Kirchherr involved in that one as well. Gonna come to the last corner. Oh, he just locked up his... It seemed like he downshifted too early or something. That was a strange place. Either that or his brake balance was way off, because that's not usually the type of... the moment in braking when you do make a mistake. Usually it happens right at the end when it snaps, or right at the beginning when you put your car into some slippery stuff. But that was right in the middle of the track, so not sure what happened here. Potentially one of those things. Either way, he's gonna not receive damage to his car, however, damage to his ego and his track position. Now, Ryan, the top four, right now looking very interesting with Gibson, Lundqvist, Rollinson and Cockatron right there in the mix, because these guys are so close that potentially the battle is still gonna allow one Shane Van Gisbergen to challenge for the podium in start number one. I mean, he's still got 9 minutes left.
Yeah, that's 11 laps into the race now. Should have about 5 laps left, I think. Maybe 6, maybe 7, maybe less. I actually have no idea. But there is a bit of time left on the board. for him to keep on moving. But Cockett and Rollinson are going to prove tough people to pass. We've seen that already this season. Gibson's responding to everything they throw at him in terms of lap times for the guys behind at 27.5 in response to the increase in pace from Blomqvist, Rollinson and Cockett. So he's doing a very good job.
Guess who's doing even better job down at 5th place? Look at his lap time.
It was a 26.8, of course it was. So he was 7/10 quicker than the race leader, and he's currently 3.2 seconds back. Sabo as well did a 27.0, so he was half a second quicker than the race leader. I expect Shane to get held up as soon as he catches Cockett, which is in a quarter or two. That will allow Sabo up to his rear bumper as well.
Yeah,
and remember, we're going to flip them around for race 2. And all these guys will be at the back. So, really, Sabo and Shane are just getting practicing for race 2 with all these overtakes.
Yeah, that's what they're indeed going to do. And I'm sure both of those guys have plenty of experience overtaking. But this is going to be still very interesting for Shane, because now he's entering a battle. There is already an established battle right in front of him. Established battle warden between these guys, but especially Gene Rollinson and Taylor Hockerton have been battling pretty much all race long. So Shane, he's in front of a decision right now. He has a decision to make. Does he want to pick them one by one, which he potentially gets a chance to do right now, or does he want to wait for a mistake from one of them? I think he's gonna go to the inside right now.
Oh, that was late, but it was pinpoint accurate. Kept it a millimeter away from contact with Cockett, and now they run for a drag race down the back straight in front of them. Gene Rollinson's got very close to the back of Paul Blomqvist, who's starting to drift away from the race lead, as Cockett was very good on the brakes, but Van Gisbergen was better. Back to P4, and it's back to a net gain in terms of his race so far after starting from 5th. That was not good news for Sabo. Looking at that, he would have been hoping Cockett and Van Gisbergen were held up a fraction more, but remember, Cockett is ahead of Sabo in the championship. So he'll be happy that he's lost a spot. He'll be hoping Rollinson loses a spot as well. He's next on the hit list. Rollinson now in a Muzz Minion sandwich, 2nd and 4th. He runs in 3rd.
And you name it by the contents. Come on, man.
So it's a Rollinson sandwich?
Yes, it's a Rollinson sandwich. Thank you.
But that's not the saying.
I know, but that's one of my pet hates. I'm sorry anyway. Race broadcasting.
Be a sheep, Ozzy. Just be a sheep. Stop trying to be different.
Okay. But that would be bad for me.
You're mixing well with the New Zealand crowd. Shane Van Gisbergen looking for a good run out of Atwood Curve, and he's going to get it. So he's in the slipstream now of Rollinson. I expect Rollinson probably to defend with only 5 minutes left in this race. Let's see if he does. No, he's not. He's going to leave that door wide open, and Van Gisbergen needs no second invitation. Those bright green wheels go up the inside, and it's another spot for Shane. Next up is Paul Blomqvist, who has been behind earlier in the race, and he couldn't get by him. I wonder if he's now got a renewed vigour for passing after getting a few of them done ever since that mistake when he tried to get by Blomqvist. 4 minutes left. Does he have enough time to get to Mike Gibson? I don't know. I reckon he might have a shot.
He might, but it depends how quickly he gets by Paul Blomqvist here. Paul Blomqvist, he's really now starting to drop back from Mark Gibson, but I don't think he's gonna give it too easy to Shane Van Gisbergen. And Shane, he might have adjusted his braking point since that first spin. A little bit backwards for the hairpin, where he can still overtake, but he doesn't overshoot it by all that much. It all depends here. He needs to get by on his lap, and really needs to show us that SVG magic if he wants a race win here. And I'm sure he wants to, but whether that's in the realm of a possibility or not, we'll have to wait and see. This is a good start, though.
Because Blomqvist has run wide. This is going to allow Van Gisbergen up the inside all the way down at the hairpin as he just tucks in to get the slipstream. By the way, he was the fastest car on the track last time by. Sabo's second quickest. He's still back in 6th position though. Second time of asking at the hairpin on Paul Blomqvist. This time, Van Gisbergen pulls it up and he is back into second place, 1.5 seconds away from the lead, 3.5 minutes remaining in our first race. There's the gap on your screen, a 6-car train separated by 3.3 seconds. As always, the BMW Race Driver Series putting on a show here on the GSRC Global SimRacing Channel.
That's what they're doing. Some great, fantastic racing here. Surprisingly clean as well, considering how much Okayama as a track invites contact. So now we'll have to wait and see. Not only can Shane catch up to Mark, which we think he could do, because even with the overtake, he was still 0.4 of a second faster, and that's incredible. But I don't think Mark is just going to roll over and die here. I don't think he's just gonna, let Shane van Gisbergen have this position. I think he's gonna make Shane fight for it. And the last few guys, as good as the overtakes have been, let's face it, they either weren't in a position to fight or they just didn't put up much of a fight. So if Mark Gibson closes up that inside onto the hairpin, then Shane's gonna have a decision to make and gonna have a hard last couple of laps for himself.
The gap under a second. It was just north of a second for a few laps after Blomqvist started to fade. But Van Gisbergen, one Musman in car replaced with another, and now Van Gisbergen on the hunt. He's got that racer's mentality. He's aggressive, and he's stupidly quick. Mistakes are rare for him, and when he does make a mistake, he usually counted him. To bounce back very strong, and strongly he has bounced back. He's on a wave of confidence and form at the moment. They're going to cross the line, and it's going to be 2 laps to go in this race. Been winless all season. The Virgin Australia Supercars Championship finally cracked the egg yesterday, got 2 of them, went back-to-back, Sunday in Townsville. Looking to back it up with a win on the sim here in iRacing, 6/10 to the margin.
Yeah, 0.6 of a second, and Shane is really looking for the chance. I wonder what Mark is going to do here. Is he going to get paranoid? Is he going to start closing those doors already on his lap? He has seen that Shane can be incredible on the brakes, an absolute honey badger on the brakes, but can he really pull it off that far away? I don't think he can, and this is where Mark needs to be patient. He needs to see, okay, Shane is coming closer, I need to close the right doors, and I need to start the defense at the right time. Not too early to invite him right up to my rear, and not too late to give him a free pass, but just at the right time. Don't close the unnecessary doors, but rather identify the chances and then take them off Shane. That's Mark Gibson's best chance for a victory out there today, because pace-wise, I don't think he can run away anymore.
Look, did you see how much quicker Shane was into the braking zone for the hairpin that time? Coming to the white flag. Meanwhile, Mark Gibson, after debuting at Sebring, clean sweeping the rounds, didn't quite go his way last week, but he's still got the pace. But he's got the fight of his life if he wants to win again. And he wants to do it today. 1 lap to go. The gap at the line, 0.3 of a second. It's the final lap at Okayama. And it is an all-out duel between Mark Gibson and the best in the business. Van Gisbergen right behind him. Is he close enough for a lunge into this next corner? No, he's not. He's going to sit behind and look for the exit. Right on his bumper. He's almost there. He's almost pushing him out of the corner. And surely Gibson is going to have to drive defensive. Down the back straight already. Moving the car to the middle of the racetrack. Going all the way to the right-hand side of the racetrack. And Van Gisbergen going a long way round on the brakes. He's almost done it. He's run a little bit wide. And Gibson fights back. Still wheel to wheel on the exit. Van Gisbergen has taken it away.
He has, but here comes Gibson right back at the next corner.
He tried to give him the bump and push him back wide, but he couldn't do it. And Shane Van Gisbergen to the lead on the final lap. Just 2 corners remain. What a drive from Shane Van Gisbergen. What a move as well, around the outside on the brakes. No sign of the issues he had earlier on the brakes into that corner. Race one at Okayama. It's Shane van Gisbergen that gets it done. Gibson home in second. It's P3 for Gene Rollinson. Paul Blomqvist has had an issue on the final lap.
Yeah, he's had a major incident with Gene Rollinson onto the hairpin. Gene Rollinson punted him around, and Paul Blomqvist went around with a big damage. He's gonna come home in 6th position. Is Paul Blomqvist.
The rest of the drivers coming across the line now to wrap up the first race of 2. So don't go anywhere this evening here at Okayama. Out of the final quarter come Henry Thomas Kircher and Taylor Bryant. That'll be 16th and 15th for them, maybe. A bit of a change on the last lap. It's 14th for Bryant, 15th for Kircher.
Yeah, so a couple of changes of position still, and then those guys are gonna be done with race number 1 here at Okayama. But man, that's Shane van Gisbergen move. I was talking 1 lap ago about him needing to make that right move and Mark Gibson needing to defend. Gibson did everything he could to defend, but he had no chance against Shane van Gisbergen, who cut through the field like a hot knife through butter.
Let's go through our results then from race 1. Van Gisbergen with the win by half a second over Gibson. Rollinson 3rd. Taylor Cochran and Sabo 4th and 5th. Blomqvist 6th. Midgley 7th. Piantini home in 9th. Griffin, in 8th. Zane Hills in 10th.
Royce Rollinson gonna be 11th. Stephen Barker was 12th. Taylor Bryant 13th. Henry Thomas Kircher 14th. Nicholas Lowndes 15th. Jonathan Shapley 16th. Then Douglas Bigley, Cam Kearns, Bea Ware, and Joshua Andrew rounding out your top 20. Gonna run through last couple of guys. Liam Matheson 21st, last driver on the lead lap. Caden Barker gonna finish 1 lap down, 22nd. Regan Edwards 23rd, 3 laps down. David Lawrence out of this the first race, 9 laps down. And Tim Dawson apparently never starting the first race, sadly.
Let's go to a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Stay with us. Coming back with race 2, the reverse grid race from Okayama in the BMW Race Driver E-Series. Welcome back to Okayama. Here in the BMW Race Driver E-Series, it's round 6 of our 10-week season, and the action just continues to ramp up and continues to surprise each and every week. It's a debut win in the season for Van Gisbergen, but I don't think that's much of an acclaim to give, given the expectation that comes when he enters a race, and I believe he was also participating last season as well. So now, they've all got to do it again, but from the back. Now, if we look at that race, there's a few drivers you'd highlight as probably with a really good chance to the overtaking prowess. Obviously, Shane. We've seen drivers come from the back to the front a few times this season. So obviously him. But Sabo starts 21st, and he was pretty quick as well. He was one of the quicker cars.
Yeah, and I'm gonna mention Nicholas Lowndes as well. He was 8th in qualifying, ended up 15th last race, will be starting 11th. And Bea Ware as well. She was 12th in qualifying, gonna be starting 7th in this second start. So those are gonna be the ones who are trying to make it up to the very front right early on, and then just gonna run away as guys like Sabo and Rollinson and Gibson and Van Gisbergen and Cockerton and everybody else are gonna be fighting their way through the field. So really, it's more of a chase. You know, you remember back in like the Need for Speed video games when you were running away from the cops and you just try to run away from them and before the race is over. Well, that's exactly the same thing. So it's more of a battle of time, really. How big of a gap can those I mentioned earlier, like Bea Ware and Nicholas Lowndes, make before they're gonna have their mirrors filled with Shane Van Gisbergen and those guys? That's gonna be the real talking point of this race. But hey, we'll see that soon.
We have seen some truly captivating second races this season. It's been surprising how quickly some drivers have managed to slice through the field with massive jumps on lap 1. And there's been a bit of carnage as well. Oh, there's been plenty of carnage on lap 1. It's almost a given in any series, probably in real life as well, when you put all the fast guys at the back. But it's why we love it. It brings the excitement. 100% excitement all race long as we line up on the grid. Your starting grid is the opposite of how they finished. Just keep that in mind. So it is Tim Dawson on the pole. And though it won't be him because he's not in the server, neither's David Lawrence. So top 2 won't grid up. So actually on the pole, it'll be Regan Edwards and Caden Barker next to him. Matheson, Andrew, Davea, Cam McCants, the first couple of rows. And there is a few drivers who've been reasonably quick this season. Not quite race-winning pace, but not at the back of the pack either. Joshua Andrew might be one of those drivers to look out for. Remember, he had a very good opening half of the race and then picked up a lot of spots. Ended up finishing, obviously, a little ways down the order. That's why he's starting 6th, but if he can keep it on the track, he might be someone to look out for.
Indeed, he has that overtaking pedigree in that black car with the red helmet. Is he gonna be the red mist descending upon the leaders, the likes of Regan Edwards and Caden Barker, already in lap number 1? We're gonna have to wait and see. But mind you, if you are here to watch Shane Van Gisbergen drive, he's gonna be in that Minion car with the green rims all the way in the back. I said that right, the Minion car.
Yep, most Minion. Porsche pace car dives to pit road. Field on the hands of Regan Edwards is much more tame this run to the green than Ray Swan. Waiting on the green flag to come out then. Regan Edwards leading us to the green race 2. Away we go. Green flag in Japan. Whoa, look at the fan out from that second row, but they don't have to jump to do anything with it. But on the brakes, maybe there's contact as Caden Barker gets sent into turn 1. He looks like he's gathered it up. No, he's out on the gravel. And someone else has found the tyre bundle on the outside of the first corner as well. As now he slides out of the corner. That was Regan Edwards.
Yeah, Cam Cairns was the guy on the tire barrier in turn number 1, and there's a big melee in turn number 4. Oh, that's Blomqvist involved.
Yeah, Blomqvist was trying to squeeze through on the outside of, I think, 79 wide. Oh, there's an incident on the back straight. Matthew Griffin onto his lid.
And that's another car round. Well. Caden Barker.
Caden Barker.
Around and around he goes like the top 2 BMWs on their roof on the back straight. You never want to see that, but hey, they're still racing there at the front. And what a first lap, Ryan. You said it's going to be a mayhem. Well, it certainly has proved to be one, but it's up at the top. Liam Matheson leading from Bea Ware and Joshua Andrew.
Bit of a mess out of turn 7. Some of those fast runners just being a little bit cautious early on here, trying to get through some of that drama. Everyone except Paul Blomqvist, who sent it in on the outside into the Enduro curve. Oh, Taylor Bryant. How did he not hit anyone as he slid back onto the racing line there? Completely out of control. He's going to rejoin right at the back of the field. Here's the replay as he was on the outside of, I think that's Kircher. That car.
Yeah, that's Kircher.
Oh, he's on the inside, sorry, and then, wow, just missed the back of Kircher. So, biggest mover on lap 1, Van Gisbergen plus 14, Rollinson plus 13, Gibson plus 12.
Yeah, and we got a battle for the lead as well. Be aware that she's right now at the race lead, taking the way from Liam Matheson, Joshua Andrew as well, involved in that top 3 battle. So those guys are actually gonna be battling all the way from early on, and I don't think that's what they should be doing right now. I know they're racing drivers and all, but they must know that there's some pretty fast guys coming behind them. So make a gap to the likes of Sabo and Rollinson and Zane Hills and Shenwan Gisbergen as well. You know, make a gap for those guys and then settle out the lead later on. But I know they want to battle, and Joshua Andrew certainly wanted to battle, giving a couple of love taps as well to Liam Madison already.
I actually missed Anto Rafael Sabo gained more than anyone else. He was also plus 14 on the opening lap. He's in the 7th. So he broke free of them all after starting just ahead of them. As look at the defensive move in front of him from Royce Rollinson. Rollinson will fancy his chances in terms of pace compared to Sabo. Sabo's going to try to go the long way around here. Going to run out of grip. But he manages to hang on, and now he's got the inside run for turn 2. So he takes away that spot. Royce looking for the crossover. Can't quite find it. Zane Hills and Gene Rollinson are right on the back of these two, as well as Hills looks aggressively to the inside. Gene looks even more aggressively, and Shane Van Gisbergen takes the racing line and says, I'll have the exit. Thank you very much, as Hills got the exit on Royce drag race down the back straight.
Yeah, good battling between these guys. Good respect as well. And coming into the hairpin braking zone, who's it gonna be? It's gonna be still side by side. Zane Hill is gonna be to the inside, outside at Revolver. That's gonna be very difficult to try and defend. And Rollinson still having contact. Out wide goes Zane Hills. Gonna be back on the track, getting a better exit. And once again, they're side by side run. Wow.
Meanwhile, Van Gisbergen drove around the outside of the hairpin to get the next one to complete his move on Gene Rollinson. He'll capitalise from Royce Rollinson getting hung out wide by Zane Hills, and then he'll try to drive around the outside of Zane Hills and just runs out of road immediately, switching to the inside and finding no way by there. And now down the main straight, Hills did a good job to pull a couple car lengths heading on to the straightaway. So at the end of lap number 3, Sabo plus 15, Van Gisbergen plus 17. Still plus 13 for Gene Rollinson. Bayvia trying to run away with a 2.4 second advantage from Liam Matheson in second. Joshua Andrew hard on the defensive line as Nicholas Lowndes looks for a way by him. I mean, Thomas Kircher's got Sabo for close company behind them.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for Sabo to try and catch up to this pack, because all the way to second place they are battling Liam Matheson, Joshua Andrew, Nicholas Lowndes as well. Gonna be launching to the inside and gonna get past. Oh, no. But Andrew's gonna have the exit and punching him out of the way. He was like, bam, you can't break it late, and that's a nasty contact between Nicholas Lowndes and Joshua Andrew. Andrew not happy about that one. And why would he? He's in the gravel trap, and he even has Taylor Cockatone for company.
Sabo is completely out of control into the hairpin as well, as now Kircher spins it on the outside under pressure from Sabo, and Van Gisbergen continues his charge. He's almost into the top 5 from dead last, and I'm not surprised at all. Sabo, though, is surely going to put up a fight. Bayvia still leading this race by a margin of 3.5 seconds, extending the gap, showing decent pace at the moment. Pace that is, in comparison, quite good to race 1. It's only 4/10 slower than Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, granted, Van Gisbergen is in traffic, but as we've been focusing on this battle, I think you're right. We should be also mentioning at least Bear Weir's performance, because she's been absolutely amazing on race number 2. Started 7th, went to the lead early on, did the moves at the right time, and now she's doing the right thing. She's just running away from everybody else. And what a feather for her cap it would be to beat the likes of Sabo, Van Gisbergen, Shane Rollinson, and everybody else.
Sabo throws the block, but he goes too deep, and he spins it around, and he's in to the grass almost, and that's a long, long wait for a gap to open up where he can get it going. He finds a space and rejoins behind Taylor Bryant. So it's P13 for him. For P2, look at this. To the outside, no, to the inside. Nicholas Lowndes. He tried to throw the dummy on Liam Matheson. It didn't quite work. Now looking for the exit to set himself up through the last two corners and then down the main straight. He needs to get a move on because here comes Van Gisbergen. All the while, Bayvia runs away at the front. Matheson with a poor exit. Lowndes gets a good one. Matheson thought about driving across to cover, but opted not to. And Lowndes now on the brakes, on the inside. Matheson holding very nicely on the outside. So he's going to fight back. And as they battle, Van Gisbergen's just waiting for a gap to open up. That slide from Matheson might be the invitation he needs. You have to go a long way around on the outward curve here, Ozzy.
Yeah, and that was great awareness from Matheson to leave the door open for Van Gisbergen. Not many people can see that. Once again, Matheson trying to squeeze him out. Trying to squeeze him out too much. And Van Gisbergen going to the grass. And I think he's not going to be very happy about that one at all. Gene Rollinson getting by Van Gisbergen. That was just a little bit too much of squeezing going on from Liam Matheson, who was just saying, you know, get out of our battle. This is between me and Nicholas Lowndes and not everybody else. Meanwhile, Shane was like, I just want to win this race, man. I don't care about the battle. You can battle for the second or third place all you want.
You know, I'm glad Shane backed out of that and didn't just keep his boot in it. And he saved it on the grass as well. So only loses one spot. Nicholas Lowndes under pressure makes a mistake. And it takes a bit of the right side off of Shane Rollinson's car. And he is going to go backwards now to 6th place. Now Liam Matheson under pressure again. Gonna have to fight as Van Gisbergen ejects him out into the gravel. That is how do you do from SVG. So he's up to P2 on lap 6. That's all it took as the fight for 3rd rages behind Matheson. Gonna get turned around by Zane Hills. And not the first driver to be in that sort of position on the outside of a corner today.
Yeah, in fairness, Matheson was just turning to the apex and I think Zane Hills was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, that's a car spinning around in the gravel trap as well.
It was Nicholas Lowndes. On the last lap, Avia pulled out a massive margin. She's got 7.2 seconds in hand. She needs to drive the best 15 minutes of her life if she wants to hang on for this race win. She needs to punch in low 27s, that's for sure. Last lap was a 27.9 as they fought behind. Van Gisbergen put in a 29.1, but expect that to be drastically slashed on the next lap. Gene Rollinson 3rd, Zane Hills 4th, Paul Blomqvist has found his way up to 5th as well. So Gene Rollinson looking like he's going to have a good day today in terms of his championship.
Yeah, he is. He's sitting right behind Shane Van Gisbergen, and I know he's a racer, but I think that's the position where you want to be right now. Just follow Shane through. Try and stay in this draft because this is the plane ticket. That's a one-way, no-stop Concorde flight straight to the race lead, I think. Even though, don't discount Bea Bear. And I must say, I'm kind of envious of her position because whatever happens, she's got a story for a lifetime. The one time I raced Shane Van Gisbergen for the race lead. And by the way, Bea Bear, normally Bea Bear Racing, you can look them up on Facebook. They normally race utes. And I think that's utterly amazing.
That might be handy to have that real-world experience. Last lap was decent. 27.4, 27.1 for Van Gisbergen, only 0.3 quicker. If she keeps that up, she might have a chance. Andrew has had another spin. And Andrew is now running down the order quite some way after starting towards the front. Mark Gibson under pressure. Up the inside goes Matthew Giantini, using a lot of the curb to get the car turned, and it drags Sabo through as well.
Yeah, so Gibson is lacking the entire back end of his car as well. You can see it on some of the shots when they zoom in after the exit of the hairpin, for example. So Gibson And you're gonna see something interesting. What is in the boot of that BMW M8 race car? There's two huge air screws that are coming right out of the boot, and I tell you, no room for subwoofers there.
Let's look at the lap times again in a minute once they cross the line. Battle for P4, pretty close as well. It was a 28-0 from Bayville. That's not what she needs to be doing. It was a 26-6 from Van Gisbergen, slashing the margin by 1.4 seconds. Jean Rawlinson 27-3, so with Hills and Blomqvist 27-1. So Blomqvist might have a shot at a podium, potentially. He keeps up that momentum. As side by side, heading towards the Atwood curve. Cockerdin getting by Douglas Bickley. Nicholas Lowndes going for the late move as well. And luckily given a lot of room by Bickley, who was very nice to him there.
I think he was also capitalizing on the exit there, Ryan, because okay, he screwed up his entry a little bit and had a little bit of wiggle there, but on the exit he's better to take that wide line as Lowndes, however, taking no prisoners at all onto the hairpin, taking that position away from Douglas Bickley. Whoa. It's been some great racing.
Certainly has. 12 minutes left in this one, so we are past halfway in the second of two races here on Okayama International Circuit. Zane Hills with a mirror full of minions at the moment. That's Paul Blomqvist. Very close behind Royce Rollinson as well. Giantini and Antal Rafael Sabo right in his boot. Oh no, he's made a mistake at the last corner. Back of the shot. You'll see it. Down the main straight. Giantini trying to chase Rollinson across the track. Ultimately deciding the outside's the way to go. He's trying to think about Sabo as well. It's two on the inside, one on the outside. Sabo trying to squeak to the inside, and Rollinson forces Giantini to lift as he moves across in front of him. Sabo trying to get by him, and he might just about do it into the Atwood curve here. Being probably the second best overtaking the spot today behind the hairpin. And on the inside line, he might complete it for a moment. But look at the exit that Giantini should get, but won't quite be able to keep the car there. Ends up in the grass and slots in behind, and Mark Gibson draws closer as they do battle.
Yeah, and that's going to be inside line for the Sabo, and I think he's going to be able to fend this one off. Maybe that's a great challenge from Quintini, but not quite able to pull it off. It was so crucial for Sabo to get that car on the racing line at the exit of that curve, because normally it would have been Giantini instead of Sabo who get that draft down the back straight from Rollinson. Instead, Sabo looking to the outside onto the next corner. He's not wasting any time here at all, and that's a great way to pull it off. Let's see if Rollinson can fight back, though. He has a chance for a crossover, though he doesn't anymore because Quintini is involved in that one as well. And suddenly, these guys are going to say bye-bye to Anton Rafael Sabo, I think.
Behind, that's Taylor Cockerdin, putting himself in a precarious spot on the outside of the last two corners. It pays off, and he gets the run. It's a clear Gibson down the main straight. Nicholas Lowndes edging closer and closer and looking to the inside. He's on the inside, he's on the brakes, and he's through. So Gibson loses a couple more spots. That damage that he's had since lap one definitely affecting that car in terms of overall pace. Update on the front once again, 26.6 plays a 27.6.
Yeah, that's 1 second less. And meanwhile, 47th place, Royce Rollinson just made a mistake, locked up his brakes. That's going to be Matthew Gintini getting by him. And yeah, we can now focus on the lead pretty much as those battles have ceased for the moment. Be aware has traffic in front of her as well in the form of Liam Madison. And Liam Madison doesn't look like he'll be moving out of the way just yet. I think he'll have to pretty soon. Those blue flags are going to be flying for him. That's not the way you want to do it. Not on the exit of the corner.
Come on. It's just
stupid. Yeah, I think he was, in fairness, I think he was trying to, you know, let the leader by on the exit of the corner, but that's not the way you do it. You want to be off the racing line when you do that, and that's a little bit of a silly error, but I'm sure he will be learning.
I reckon he might give Shane a hard time here. Remember how Shane got by him?
Oh, yeah.
It was the one tap and off you go into the gravel, escorted him wide at the final corner. And Van Gisbergen, no. He'll have got the back of his mind. He'll be a little bit apprehensive, I think, about what Matheson might do as he tries to pass him. Well, hopefully, It's just a little bit of I'm going to hold you up for a corner or two as he runs wide. And Van Gisbergen should, in theory, clear him down this back straight.
In theory, and I hope we don't get any shenanigans here. Madison's just gonna be biting his line on the inside. Is he gonna break early? You bet he is, and he's gonna let Shane Van Gisbergen by. But
Good
for
job.
a moment, there must have been a thought.
Good job, Liam.
Yeah, good job, exactly. That's the way you turn the other cheek, you forgive and you forget. Or at least you can forgive. In the minds of many drivers, as you said, when you come up in a situation like that, there could be a thought of, not saying Liam, but there could be a thought. Oh, and Sabo's around.
Yep,
So-
there he is. And I reckon it sent Nicholas Lowndes into the grass as well in avoidance. Here's the replay. All by himself is Antal Rafael Sabo. Just a lot of action potentially.
Yeah, so he's gonna come to the hairpin just fine, but watch his racing line as he comes up to Revolver. On the left side of your screen, he's just gonna touch the grass tear, and that's a one-way ticket to a merry-go-round. And in this case, it was not the kind of merry-go-round that you have at an amusement park, and he had to wait a long time before he got back going. So I think Sabo's all the way down in 10th place right now.
It was wrong place, wrong time for Nicholas Lowndes. You can see his car dart to the right. Meanwhile, for the race lead, Shane Van Gisbergen has run down Bayvia, who might still be good for a top 5 here. Race win is hanging on by a thread because Van Gisbergen is looking fast. Does she defend? No, there might not be much point. Van Gisbergen on the brakes, on the inside, and he is back to the lead. Here at Okayama, Shane Van Gisbergen from 25th to 1st, done it in 13 laps with 6.5 minutes to spare.
Yeah, so that was it's easy on paper, and I think hats off to Bea as well. She realized the situation. She realized that she's gonna lose more time battling for that position than she can afford right now. She knows that realistically, she doesn't have much of a chance to hold on to the win up until the race end. And yeah, it would have made for a great story to try and battle. But look at Shane Rollinson. He's now battling Liam Matheson in traffic as well. And he is losing time constantly. And this is time that Bea is gaining.
Plonker spun. And I think we actually saw him in one of the shots stopped on the outside of the racetrack. There he is. He's now back in 5th position. Did he spin? Or am I just tripping out?
I will check it out for you. I will check it out and I will tell you if you're tripping out or not.
1 minute 32 in the last lap, which is considerably off the pace, about 5 seconds off the pace.
Oh, he did spin, yeah. He spun in turn number 7, I think it is. Turn number 7 it would be, or turn number 8. Either way, coming into the one of the back-end hairpins, the first one, and then he just, threw it around, put one wheel on the grass and spun it around, and you saw it on the screen as well. So congratulations, Ryan. You're not tripping out. At least you're not seeing things.
Not now, anyway. The 1.1 second gap already for SVG. Out of the head of the field. Here's another angle of it. It was a case of 2 on the grass. Around you go. The Blomqvist, much like how Sabo spun at the other end of the circuit a lap or 2 ago. There's Midgley. And Midgley is fighting with Joshua Andrew. Andrew on the inside, Midgley on the outside. Andrew going to take that spot with a good move. Puts himself, or holds himself in 14th because Midgley is actually attacking him on this lap.
Yeah, he is a great battle between these two drivers as well. Midgley obviously having a lot of damage on the rear end of his car, that splitter that provides so much downforce to these cars. Not only the massive rear wing, but the splitter as well, providing, or rather the diffuser in case of the rear end, is providing so much downforce to the car. And now that that all is taken away, it's gonna make John Midgley's work even more difficult. Difficult but not impossible. Meanwhile, that was car number 20 around, so that was Lowndes once again. Nicholas Lowndes sadly not having the best of events. He's been fast sometimes here and there. I know Midgley gonna get passed into turn number 1, Joshua Andrew being forced aside. So that's the 14th place for John Midgley, 15th now for Josh Andrew, and good battles continuing all over the track. Ryan, why don't you tell me what's happening down at the number 6?
number 6 spot. Giantini is under pressure from Cockenden. The replay of Midgley into turn 1. Oh, that slow-moving car in front of him that he's just managed to avoid at the very end of the braking zone. That was, that was Andrew. That was odd.
Yeah, that was Joshua Andrew just completely screwing up the braking zone into turn number 1, and that looked very weird, but sometimes you have pace difference, significant pace difference between two drivers, especially when one has a damage in his car or just some technical difficulties or something else, and the driver behind can really be taken by surprise.
How about that move from Taylor Cockenden to get by Giantini at the penultimate corner? Can Giantini fight back in turn 1? No, he can't. He might have a chance if he holds on through this first sector, but he's made a mistake immediately at turn 1. Got the grass on the inside, which threw him offline for the rest of the corner. He had to delay his application of the throttle, which hurt him on his exit, and Cockenden pulls out a couple of a car length advantage. 2 minutes remaining in this race. There's your race leader, Van Gisbergen, turns up and looking like he's going to do the double here at Okayama International Circuit, round 6 of the BMW Race Driver Series, still some points away from those drivers in the championship fight. He doesn't give a damn about that. He's here to race, have fun, and represent Musminian, it would seem. Are we going to get the white flag this time? It's going to be pretty close, but I reckon, much like race 1, we are just going to squeak to 2 laps to go. And in fact, we will. So 2 to go.
Yeah, 2 to go at the line, and that's going to be bad news for the driver in second place, Be Aware, because she is still about a second ahead of Jean Rollinson, and she's got Jane Hills for company soon if Jean doesn't get by in a short order. In fact, the gap right now, 1.6 seconds between them, and this is for a second place, and still, I mean, even if the race win is running away, Be Aware just finishing on the podium in her second race of the weekend, that would be an amazing result for her, honestly, for a driver who is apparently quite an experienced sim racer, just not very familiar name for me in this series. And oh!
Wow!
That's a turtle.
Off the front of that car, and sliding to a stop on his lid, it looked like either Kircher or Midgley.
Lowndes was involved in that one as well, I think. Lowndes dropping back rapidly in the order.
The Lowndes spun, and Kircher it was, met the front bumper, much like he'd meet a ramp, skyward, and came down on his roof. That's 3 cars who've been on their roof at some point in today's race. As Jean Rollinson is trying to take second place away. You can't take away the drive that Bay has done here in race 2. Started 7th, so wasn't even handed a top 4 starting spot. Started 7th, got to the lead, pulled out a big gap, had to relinquish the lead to Van Gisbergen, but might just hold on to second, and you would imagine should have a podium here with 1 lap to go.
Yeah, and she was aggressive at the right time at the start, took the lead early on, relatively early on, then just did the right thing of trying to run away, trying to run her race. 28.1 last time around, Jean Rollinson 27.3, Zane Hills 29.4, so Zane Hills not involved in that conversation as well, and she realistically has to defend these last couple of corners. Can she pull it off, Ryan? It's going to be very interesting. I think she's not going to let Jean have it as easy as Shane.
Risk versus reward. Is it second or is it third? Which one does she want more? Onto the brakes. She's able to fend him off into the hairpin. And that is the last really good overtaking opportunity. There's a couple of places where Rollinson could still sneak by. If the gap opens up, got to be on her toes through this last sector. Is there a look here? No. Still got him covered. A lap car in front. Too far ahead to be a factor in this battle. Rollinson trying to set himself up for the run through the final 2 corners. But out front, it's Shane Van Gisbergen from the back of the grid to the front. Reversed grid, doesn't matter. Van Gisbergen wins race 2, and he wins the round at Okayama.
Yeah, spins it around for good measure, and it's gonna be Aware coming home in second place, just ahead of Jean Rollinson, who couldn't find the place in the end. So wow, what a drive for Bea. Shane Hills coming home forward, and it's going to be Paul Blomqvist rounding out to top 5.
What a drive from both Van Gisbergen and from Veer as well to come home first and second there as the rest of the field come to the line. Joshua Andrew going to be P12 for him. A messy race, or a messy round for him. Be a little bit disappointed, but recovers well from mistakes in both races. Recovers and finishes 11th at the end of race 2. Sabo only 13th. Your field has crossed the line. Let's take a look at your race results here at Okayama. Van Gisbergen winning by 8.7 seconds in the end over Veer, who second. Over Gene Rollinson in third. Zane Hills home in fourth. Paul Blomqvist in fifth. Taylor Cochran and Gintini 6th and 7th. It's P8 for Royce Rollinson. Mark Gibson 9th. And Douglas Bickley home in 10th.
Joshua Andrew in the end didn't quite have the run we had prophesized for him, coming home in 11th place just ahead of John Mitchley. Jonathan Shapley coming 13th ahead of Stephen Barker, and a disappointed Antal Rafael Sabo only 15th at race 2 in Okayama. That's gonna hurt his championship charge. Tel Bryant 1 lap down, Nicholas Lowndes 3 laps down, Henry Thomas Kerher 2 on his roof 3 laps down, Liam Matheson 4 laps down. Your list of retirements: Regan Edwards, Matthew Griffin, Kevin Barker, Cam Cairns, Tim Dawson and David Lawrence. Last 2 names classified as D and S.
DNS.
Yeah, DNS.
Sounded a lot different with your accent.
Oh yeah, spelling, right.
What a great event, and what a great drive from the entire field really to get through the pack there in race 2. Most notably Shane. Those overtaking opportunities he had in race 1 probably helped us a fair bit.
Yeah, they really did. So that was a great event and a lot of great racing, a lot of attrition in race 2, but that was expected as well. And I think for here, Ryan, we're gonna throw you a little bit of a break, and stay tuned with us because we're gonna get to introduce in not too long.
Probably not. Probably not. Ozzy, we'll stay with it here at Okayama. I'll make you talk. You're gonna make that mouth work. In terms of the championship, a very good day for Gene Rollinson, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was absolutely the best kind of result you could really hope for, which is consistent. He finished third in the first one and third in the second one as well, so that's going to be a lot of points followed up for him, especially when you look at where his championship rivals are. So Gene Rollinson really doing the best job possible. You look at Taylor Cochran, for instance, he finished 4th and 6th. That's going to be the championship lead for Gene Rollinson. Then Antal Rafael Sabo as well. He had a terrible race too. Finished only 15th, and when he was only 5th in race number 1 as well, that's gonna mean even more points extended. Matthew Griffin, Paul Blomqvist losing ground to Gene Rollinson as well. So Gene really pulling it off very well here at Okayama, and that's gonna be one he remembers well. And I think that also played a part into the last lap, Ryan, because really, you looked at Bear and Gene Rollinson. Gene didn't seem too aggressive trying to take that position. I'm not trying to take any credit away from Bear here. I'm just gonna say that, you know, maybe Gene had the championship already in the back of his mind, and that wouldn't be too stupid at all.
Hey, let's have a chat again to Joshua Andrew. We spoke to him last week. We'll speak to him again this week because, well, Joshua Andrew has been kind enough to come and join us in the interview booth. No one else wants to have a chat to us, Joshua, but we love chatting to you. You're probably not loving chatting to us after recording these mid-pack performances. It seems like another race where it almost could have been a little bit better, but a few mistakes out there.
Yeah, thanks team for having me on. Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate getting taken out in that second race. I was right while in P3 fighting for second, but the first race was awesome, coming from 21st on the grid all the way up to P10. Fortunately, I had a black flag that didn't clear by the time I crossed the line, so I got disqualified back down to 20th, I think. But yeah, no, it was awesome racing tonight. Yeah, cheers to everyone that joined and made a really good event.
It was a great race, great round. Again, I feel like I say that every round, but I'm not lying. They're all good rounds. The attrition rate, how to pass out there, it seems tough. There are plenty of drivers trying to make overtakes. Even Van Gisbergen screwed it up at one point. I'm blaming inexperience there. How did you find it out by trying to get moves done?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I mean, Okayama is a very interesting track. If you make a move in one corner, you're the person that's behind you has a move on the next corner. So it's sort of a leapfrog motion with most of the track. So you got to pick when to do it at the right point and try and run away before they can get the draft on you for one of the very long straights.
How tough is it? In those reverse grid races, obviously you started up there in 6 and then you fell back. Would have been an awkward position for you though, wouldn't it? Because normally you've got all the fast guys behind you, but then you ended up with some fast guys in front, some fast guys behind, but also people who were quicker than in front of you. It's just one of those awkward sort of scenarios.
Yeah, it's awkward and it's a bit it's unnatural for you to think about when you're in the driver's seat. But yeah, just got to adapt to it the best you can, and yeah.
Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, certainly.
Where are we next week? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head. I can have a look.
You're not that prepared. You're not prepared enough. You got to always be thinking 2 weeks ahead.
No, it's one of the things I need. Yeah, it's one of the things I need to improve on is my qualifying pace, which needs basically I just need to practice the track the week before, which I haven't been doing. Naughty me.
Hey, Rizolda, go get practicing. Who you want to thank for helping you get it done today?
Massive thanks to the Cave as always. Speed Nation, No Shock Electrical, and Sim Blacks New Zealand, and thanks to the broadcast and admin team for the series.
No worries. Thanks for joining us, Joshua. Good job today. Good get after it, Zolda.
Awesome. Cheers. Thank you.
Nice, Joshua Andrew. At the end of round 6, and with that, we'll wrap up our show here from Okayama. Big thanks, as always, to Express Hydraulics and Griffin Excavations for their support of the series and of the broadcast, and everyone for putting together the BMW Race Driver Series. Thank you to the company to provide all of our hardware and software for our shows, and Julie Lond provides all of the music. You can see the screen for how to get a hold of any of them. Big thanks as well to Joe and Ozzy with me here today. If you want to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Make sure to hit subscribe to us on YouTube as well, so that you don't miss any of the action. Other upcoming races listed on your screen, so check them out and see if there's any that pique your interest. But for tonight, from all of us here in the booth, thanks for joining us, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.